Good afternoon. This is Wendy Henley with the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce Chamber Vibes podcast, and we are so excited to have today Leslie Mahaffey, our guest today, to speak about Black History Month and to really talk about all the history that we have here in Bedford. There's so much to cover. And so in just a few minutes, we are going to dive in. But first, I want to introduce Leslie to you. She is part-time curator at the Bedford Museum for the last 3 years. The museum was actually founded in 1932 by United Daughters of the Confederacy and Daughters of the American Revolution, in which she's a member, and lots of heritage there. And she's a Bedford native, and she's lived here for pretty much her entire life, except for about 10 years. She's married to Michael Mahaffey, retired law enforcement officer for the past 32 years. And so they have 2 kids and lots of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and she is pivotal in our community. And she has so much knowledge to share. I'm so excited because even if you don't or weren't raised in Bedford, it's so much here to know, and it's so important not to lose our history and to go back and remember all the people that have made Bedford such a wonderful place to live, even today. And so we don't want to lose that. And so we're excited to talk about it. She also worked at Beacon Credit Union as Vice President of Compliance for many years. And she was in Florida for a little while, Nashville for a little while, but again, mostly here, and returned back to Bedford for her roots and really got involved with the museum. So we're excited. Leslie, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing all that you know with us. And you have really pulled out so much to share today. So this is going to be fun.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, Wendy, for inviting me to be on this podcast today. I appreciate it very much. We talked a little earlier before this started, and yes, I've been in Bedford for many, many years. My maiden name was Overstreet. My grandmother built Millstone Tea Room out next to the old Bedford County Lake, and that she bought that property in 1939. My parents bought it in 1954 when I was 1 year old. So you can do the math and find out how old I am. But growing up there to the tea room was an education in itself. So
lots of fun memories, I'm sure.
Yes, some we will tell and some we will not tell.
Oh, that's wonderful, though. And then you've got the lake right there, Bedford Lake. There's just so much history.
Yes.
So I'm sure you grew up and had a lot of fun.
I did. And the lake was, a lot of people don't know it, but the CCC camp boys were the ones that were instrumental in building the Bedford County Lake, along with the Bedford Park, with the Blue Ridge Parkway. So they were,
nice, yeah.
That was an FDR project that was started. And there was a camp. There was one in Kelso, one in Big Island that was known as Camp Rogers, and there was also one over on the south side of the county over in Moneta.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I love it. I love talking about all that we have here and what it is now and just going back, and it's just walking through and reliving history. I'm so excited about this. But first, I do want to talk about the museum and what you guys offer to our community.
Well, we're open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday from 10 to 5. On Saturday, 10 to 3. We're all about Bedford town and Bedford County history. We have a Native American room. We have a Black History room. We covered the different wars. We have a rotating exhibit that we change out, try to every year. We've gone from law enforcement to railroad china and silver. And our latest exhibit there is Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And we have items going back to like 1914 with the Boy Scouts.
Oh, my goodness.
On exhibit now.
Wow, that's a lot of history there.
Yes.
And it really it would take you a while to go through the entire museum. And if you were really wanting to dive in and go through it, it's so advantageous. And so how much is it to go through? What is the cost?
The cost to come into the museum to do genealogical research, of which we have two extensive libraries, is free. Gift shop, of course, is free. To go a tour through the museum, that is $5 for adults. Kids are free.
That's so wonderful. And if you're listening and you haven't been through the museum, you need to. It really is so much fun and it's so educational and you will be moved, I mean, by knowing what we have here and
Right. And we'll do tours also if you have a small group, whether it's a women's organization or someone from your church, or whether it's Cub Scouts, homeschoolers, whatever, and you want to do a tour, call ahead and make us aware that you're coming with a larger group, and we will give you a tour through the museum.
Wonderful. Love it. And so let's go right in. Later at the end, we'll talk about what's coming up for the museum.
Okay.
So we can bring it full circle. But let's talk about all the people that you have really looked into for this month. And I do want to remind everyone that you can go to Facebook. You guys are posting every single day a new story. So people want to pay attention to that, like, share, make sure that you just know what's going on there because that's a whole nother avenue of research. So
Absolutely. Well, let me first begin with a plug for the museum. We have a wonderful book that is called Black History, Bedford Black History, 250 Years. That book is about 2.5 inches thick, and as the title says, 250 years. That covers a very, very long time. That particular book is one of our best sellers. It sells for $59.95. You can order that online through our website, give us a call on the phone, or stop by, and we will be glad to sell that to you either through mailing it or you picking it up, either one.
wonderful. That is so great. And to have that much history, I mean, no telling how long it took to compile that.
Over 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And one thing about doing genealogical research for African Americans, it is very difficult to go back prior to the war between the states because of records. Now, in this particular book, there are slave births that are from 1853 through 1866, which is wonderful information for anyone doing family research. We have in that book, there's many things about schools, about churches, medical, military service, and we even have records in that book that in military service that actually goes back to the American Revolution. We had Black men that were fought for the American Revolutionary War.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Well, it is so much history here. And so you just start off
Okay.
wherever you want to.
Well, and one of my primary projects that I had in last year, 2021, was to completely update our Black History Room. We've added many artifacts that were previously not on display. One complaint that I heard, oh, y'all just have a lot of information on old dead people. Well, forget that. We've got a lot of stuff on real live human beings that have been very successful, and we have artifacts that are on display of living people as well as people that have passed on. I'll share one of the first here is Dr. Carol Swain. She is, I'm sure that a lot of you may have seen her on news media, on Fox News, CNN. She's has been involved with those TV stations, programs. Her story begins here in Bedford in 1954. She's really a rags to riches, or as I say, shack to success story. She was born in Bedford County, out in the Chambersburg areas where she was raised. She attended body camp in Stewartsville Elementary Schools. And she was actually went to Stanton River High School. She did drop out from there when they moved to Roanoke. She is one of 12 children. She's next to the oldest. She dropped out of school after she moved to Roanoke. She had some children of her own, and she worked kind of mediocre type jobs. One of her jobs she was working at, someone suggested that she take her GED, and she never even imagined doing anything like that, which she did. She did the GED, and then she went on to college. She first went to Virginia Western Community College, then she went to Roanoke College. At Roanoke College, she had a 3.7 grade average, or GPA, and she excelled very well there. She was told when she was at Roanoke College that she could qualify for a scholarship, but it seems like that was kept being postponed, or there was an excuse. She never ended up with a scholarship. So she made it her determination that she wanted to start a scholarship fund for racial minorities, but that didn't have any money. So a light bulb kind of went off in Carol's head. She thought, how was she going to fund this scholarship? And she woke up in the middle of the night, and she remembered one of her teachers, who was Constance Hamler. And she had recently passed. She had actually had Miss Hamler at Virginia Western, not at Roanoke College. And after she died, she had approached her husband, who was a wealthy black man, who later became a board member and a major benefactor to Roanoke College. She asked him to donate the money, and he agreed. So this scholarship was started in 2004. Constant Hamler Fund had grown to over $450,000. So that was one of Carol's accomplishments that she was very proud of.
Incredible.
Carol also, she went to Virginia Tech from Roanoke College, where she got her master's. She went to University of North Carolina, where she got her PhD. And she became she was employed with Princeton University for over 9 years. That was from 1990 to 1999. Then she went to Nashville and was at Vanderbilt University from 1999 to 2017. She has been a university professor, an author, and a media host. So you can stop and look at this woman that had all these things against her, and how she changed her life with education, and just someone planting an idea in her head to get her GED. And look where this fantastic lady has gone.
So inspiring, and people need to look up her books too.
Absolutely.
The titles look phenomenal. And so who's the next one?
The next person that I have is Ryan Anderson. Ryan is a 2005 graduate of Jefferson Forest High School. He's now a defensive quality control coach with the New York Giants. Anderson was the safeties coach at Elon College, and prior to that, he was at Hampton University as a defensive coordinator. East Carolina, he was a linebacker coach there in 16 and 17, and a defensive assistant coach at Vanderbilt in 2013 through 15. His mom had brought to us his football jersey, which is number 42, in red and black in the JF colors, and a photograph of him as being the coach at the New York Giants. Ryan's grandmother is on our board of directors at the museum. He's also the fifth-time great-grandson of Albert Anderson, who served in the Confederate Army with the Botetourt Artillery. And we have Albert Anderson's sword on display in our War Between the States Museum on the 3rd floor.
Oh, that would be something to see.
Absolutely. His His uncle told me that as kids, they used to play with that old sword in the barn. They thought it was like an old stick, and they would whack things around and everything, which is kind of a neat story in itself. And then we have Anthony Poindexter. Anthony was also a graduate at Jefferson Forest High School. That was in 1990. He played defensive back at UVA's football team. He led them to 3 bowl games, and he was named the 2020 class of College Hall of Fame. After college, he was on the 7th round pick with the NFL in 1999, and he played with the Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns during 3 seasons. So Anthony has done very, very well for himself, too. He is now a co-defensive coordinator and safety coach at Penn State in 2021. And we have pictures of him during his high school career and college career on display as well. Then we've got Reverend Henry Henderson. Who in Bedford does not know Reverend Henry? He's been a pastor of Washington Street Baptist Church for over 50 years. In 2019, then Mayor Steve Rush presented a town council proclamation to Reverend Henderson and his wife Helen. And in that proclamation, it reads that his accomplishments over the years: he had a radio ministry on WBLT, World's Best Little Town.
Yes, I remember that.
And a leader in the work to establish the Shepherd's Table. He counseled youth and adults as part of a prison ministry team. He had a leadership role in the Bedford branch of the NAACP and was vice president of the Bedford City and County Voters League, and worked with the Bedford Christian Ministries. As Baptist pastor, he served on the Board of Trustees for the Virginia Baptist State Convention and served as an instructor for the Sunday School Union of Lynchburg. He was field director for the Sunday School and the BTU Congress of Virginia, and a teacher in the Peaks of Otter Sunday School Convention. He's been a moderator for the Peaks of Otter Baptist Association and has served on the Board of Managers for the Virginia University in Lynchburg. As pastor of Washington Street, he oversaw the remodeling of the church's sanctuary, the addition of a new classroom, and a new fellowship hall and a new parking area. We display a picture and newspaper article of his great accomplishments to the Bedford community. Then Rashad Jennings.
Rashad.
Yes, I know that y'all remember when he was on Dancing with the Stars and got his mirror ball trophy and everything. Rashad also went to Jefferson Forest High School. He's a former National Football League running back. He was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars on the 7th round of the 2009 NFL Draft. He also played for the Oakland Raiders and the New York Giants. Jennings played college football at the University of Pittsburgh, but made the difficult choice to transfer to Liberty University to be by the side of his ailing father. Upon becoming a free agent in the NFL, he took his athleticism to the stage of the ABC hit show Dancing with the Stars. Now, we'll say that he has, we have several pictures of Rashad on display. We have an autographed book of his that's called The If in Life. And we also have one of the little bobblehead dolls that's from Liberty University. So that's pretty cool.
So that's fun. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we can get to some of those old dead people that people always tell me, well, you just have old dead people stuff up there. So first and foremost, as far as that goes, Mrs. Susie Thompson Griffin Gibson, Miss Susie Gibson as she's known as. She was born here in Bedford in 1878. in the Oak Mountain area, which is down near Forest, back behind Owens Market. She was married to Alexander Griffin in 1907, and then after his death, she married to David Gibson in 1926. Miss Susie never had any children, but she had several stepchildren. She went to segregated schools in the area and started teaching in 1909 in little one-room schools. She started the Virginia State College for Negroes in 1921. But did you know she did not get her diploma? She didn't graduate from college until 1943. And she paid her way all the way through school. She would take her classes until she ran out of money. She'd come back to Bedford, do some teaching, and back then there weren't certificates that were required for teachers. So she pursued, and she finally got her diploma in 1943, and we have that on display at the museum. She became what was known as a gene supervisor for all the black schools in the county. She did that for over 23 years. That was from 1926 to 1949. She was responsible for all 29 of the black schools in the county. And at the time, believe it or not, there was only 15 white schools and 29 black schools. She would drive all over the county to all the schools to check on the students and the schools. Now, we're told that she also taught some of those kids to sew. And we have on display a Singer treadle sewing machine. We checked the serial number on that, and that comes back to 1911 on that sewing machine.
Oh, my goodness.
And Miss Beulah Payne, which I know that a lot of people in town know Miss Beulah. She was the one that retrieved that sewing machine from her home in Lynchburg and brought it and donated it to the museum.
And so great to have the Bedford BSTC now named after her.
Absolutely.
Susie G. Gibson, so worthy of that. And it was just such an honor and
absolutely. And I will give a little plug to Jennifer Thompson from the museum. She worked with the Susie Gibson Alumni Association and helped them to pursue and request that the name of the Technology Center have Susie's name back on that. And there's a highway marker that will soon be placed that is in reference to the high school.
And it's so great to have that preserved, because she's one of these people that without these instrumental people pursuing their name to be established and to be remembered there, it will never happen.
Absolutely.
So without people like you, Leslie, and your team over there, the whole group of you guys just making sure that it is preserved, and that was one big way.
Right. And I want to talk a little bit about Russell Odie. Russell was the first elected black mayor of Bedford. He was one of 11 children. He graduated from the Bedford Training School, and afterwards he moved to Washington, D.C., where he worked for the IRS and went to Howard University. It was while he was in D.C. that he got his draft notice. He was inducted in 1943 into the Army Air Corps, where he was stationed with the 202nd AAF base unit as a clerk typist. In 1943, while he was stationed in Florida, that's when he married Marie Rucker. After the war, he finished his degree at St. Paul's Polytechnic Institute. He graduated in 1950 with a BS in elementary education. And his wife Marie, she became a nurse and worked here in Bedford. Russell worked at several local segregated schools, including Peaksville and Counter Ridge. And for some of you that may not know where Counter Ridge, that's out at Sedalia, at the Sedalia Center.
Yes.
They're doing some great things out there, too, and recognizing Counter Ridge. 1972, Russell, he won the election on city council, and then 1978, he was elected to serve mayor of the city of Bedford. I believe that he was the first and only African American to do so. During this time, he brought a level of decorum to the city council. He asked that during meetings that individuals refer to them as their titles and last name. So the example would be Police Chief Harrison, City Manager Cook, or Mayor Odie. The mayor was always active in civic affairs. He was a deacon in his church and a treasurer of Washington Street Baptist Church. He was appointed to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission by the governor at the time, which was Charles S. Robb, and he was featured in the Who's Who of the South and Southwest in 1976. So Mr. Odie has been very involved with our community for many, many years.
I love the fact that he was a member of the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
That was a good one to put in there. And then board of director for the Bedford Memorial Hospital. So
Right.
that was
And
great.
his wife, she worked also as a beautician in a shop above Green's drugstore. And then June of 1944, that's when the word came about the many deaths that occurred at the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. So his wife was upstairs over top of the drugstore when all that sad news came in. We've got several large portraits of the Odies. We have his casket flag on display, and we have numerous artifacts of his days as mayor and on town council with Bedford. There were two successful cab companies that we have photographs of. One was Frank O. Robertson and then Frank Butch Mills. Frank owned Mills Cafe, which was also known as Hilltop Cafe, and Mills Cab on South Bridge Street. And that was from 1947 to 1979 for 32 years. And then in 1953, Elizabeth Miller Wright became the first woman to drive a taxi in Bedford.
Oh, my goodness.
She was employed by Mills Cab Company, where she worked for over 9 years. Later, Miss Liz, as she was affectionately known, was a hairstylist here in Bedford. We have pictures on display of both of these men with their vehicles.
And with the cabs. That's great.
With the cabs, yes. Now, my great-uncle, Moman Musgrove, he had a Coca-Cola warehouse here in Bedford, and his son, Donald, used to travel around with Moman when he was delivering Cokes. And he told me this story that he recalled of Frank, or I should say Butch, had to take a cue stick with a rope on the end of it and hit somebody, because he ran a tight ship around there. And if anyone got out of line, he would threaten them with that cue stick.
I bet people listened.
They did, I'm sure. And then there was Charles Johnson. He owned Johnson's Cab and Cafe on West Franklin Street, which was about a block away from Mills Cafe. Johnson's Cafe had a jukebox, and the Carrie, Tiny Johnson, and his band played music in the cafe back in the 40s. We have an advertising piece on display with a mirror and a thermometer, and it lists Johnson's Cafe serving sandwiches and plate lunches. Also, there was Johnson's Rose Room that was advertised on this same advertising piece, and it says wine, dine, and dance. We also have some stationery and envelopes that were used for the cafe.
And so that was at 408 West Franklin Street.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Then there's Will Frank Odie. He was born 1911, died in 1990. He was a World War II veteran. After his service to our country, he worked for N&W Railroad and was a mail handler. We have his casket flag, his military-issued hat, dog tags, and a 1924 Victrola that was owned by he and his wife, Louise, that we have on display. And we have that plugged in. We don't actually have the records playing, but we have an MP3 that you can listen to the old music from that
Oh, that's
Victrola.
so nice. Yeah.
And then Walter Wright, he was born 1909 and lived to 1975. He was in the U.S. Army as a quartermaster during World War II. We have a unique item that we have on display, and it's his Army-issued towel, of which he painted where he was stationed during the military. And in the middle of this is a picture of the Battle of Iwo Jima. Some of the locations that he was stationed at was Camp Lee, Baltimore, Pearl Harbor, San Antonio, and many, many others. We have a photograph of him in uniform along with his medals that are fixed to this framed towel. His daughter, Gertrude Trudy Jones, is a longtime volunteer of the museum and a member of the board of directors of the museum. And Trudy is the one that had donated this towel to us. And we had that reframed by the Goose Creek Framery. So,
Oh, beautiful.
Yep. And then Campbell Morris. Campbell was the owner and CEO of Campbell's Bakery from 1975 to 91. It was originally a shop over on Edmond Street over next to the high school, and it later moved to South Bridge Street. He was in the Army, too. He served in the 7th Infantry Division from 51 through 52. He married Mattie Hilber, and he was employed, when he got out of the service, he was employed at Rubbertex, the Air Force Base. He was an assistant chef at the Peaks of Otter Lodge restaurant and head baker for the Elks National Home. Everyone enjoyed Campbell's culinary skills. Many years ago, back in the 80s, when I worked for Bedford Federal, which is now Atlantic Union, or Union Atlantic, I get it mixed up. But anyway, well, I would love to stop by Campbell's and get his sausage and fried apple biscuits. Just makes my mouth water now thinking about Campbell's biscuits. A lot of people remember his pies and cakes too. And we have a sign from the bakery, from his pastry shop that was over on South Bridge Street. We have that on display. Like to tell you about Dr. George Louis Alfonso Pogue, or a lot of people say GLA Pogue. He was born in 1886. He died in 1956. And he was probably the most loved of all the early doctors in Bedford. He served the community for 44 years. He came to Bedford in 1912 and was particularly known for his success in treating skin ailments. He treated both black and white patients, and it was estimated that as many as 75% of his patients were white. During World War I, he served as a lieutenant in the Medical Corps. He also served in the Bedford County Selective Board, and he was appointed as examining physician of the Selective Service by then the president in 1941. He owned and operated Poe's drugstore on South Bridge Street, along with his brother Bill, who served as the manager. It was the only place in town that both black and white customers could congregate for an afternoon of chit-chat while enjoying their favorite ice cream cone. After 30 years in the drug business, Dr. Pogue endured a double leg amputation and gave up his partnership in the drugstore. However, he continued treating patients at his home on South Street. His home is on the corner of South and the intersection where King and Edmond intersect. The red rock at the bottom of the house is the same rocks that you see around town. These rocks have been known to come from the old Bedford Hotel where the Elks home is now located. And even around the bottom of the museum are those red rocks also.
Interesting.
Did you know that he was also a member of the Chamber of Commerce when he was recognized as one of the leading associates?
Wonderful. I knew he was a good one.
He definitely was a fine, fine person. He was
a lot of accomplishments.
Indeed. He was a 32nd degree Mason. He was active in the educational improvements and instrumental in selecting the site for Susie Gibson High School. He and his brother William were influential in the construction of the Bedford Training School. We've recently gotten a new acquisition in, and that's a wooden potty chair from his home on South Street. I encourage everyone listening to stop by and check out the Black History Room at the museum. If you haven't taken a look at the Black History book, we have that on the shelf in our library, and it is also for sale for $59.95. And Susie Gibson High School, I will say that we do have some of the artifacts from the school on display. We have the original metal sign from the high school. We have a PTA banner that had the highest parental attendance. It was in recognition of that. There was a desk bell. We have high school annuals, cheerleader uniforms, and some gym shorts from Susie Gibson High School.
Well, we thank you so much for preserving all of this information. It's just tremendous. And I know we don't want to be remiss. We wanted to talk about Tim.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes. How
Tell
can I
us
forget Tim?
Tell us a little bit about Tim.
As I mentioned, my husband was in law enforcement for 29 years. And when he retired, Tim Hayden was his sergeant in investigations.
Oh, so cool.
Tim was with the sheriff's office for over 35 years. In 1985, he became interested in law enforcement when Deputy William Poindexter let him ride along with him on patrol for a couple of nights. Tim rose in rank to corporal, then to sergeant, then to investigator, and finally into the sheriff's office command staff, becoming a captain. He earned his reputation for competency and integrity. He said that after a time as an investigator, he gained reputation around the defense attorneys for honesty and keeping his facts straight. Tim was born here in Bedford County and a graduate from Stanton River High School. And
of course, his son is all over the place, John.
Oh, yes, DJ Showtime.
So the
John
family.
Hayden. And then his other son, Jonathan, has now bought and is running Bridge Street Cafe.
Yes.
So the Haydens have been involved with our community for quite some time. And to see the boys up and coming and doing the wonderful things that they do, I'm just so proud of them. I will add in one cute little story. When my husband was working with Tim, he would have to call Tim at home, and the boys sometimes would answer the phone, and they would holler, "Dad, country's on the phone." So even today, his boys call my husband Country.
That's wonderful. Oh, my goodness. I love that we've got it right here. All this history, so important. And what great community investors. You talk about all the accomplishments, but really what they did was invest back into their community.
Absolutely.
And they were true givers. And so not only did they have success for themselves, but we call them community builders. And every single one of them were just exemplary at that. And so we're blessed to have such a rich history here. And certainly what's coming up for the museum?
Well, we have a women's essay contest that's coming up in the month of March. And this is for school-age children to write about a woman that has been influential in their lives or someone that they admire and look up to. We also have another program that will be coming up this summer is our summer camp. It's hands-on history. And we used to do the Fridays at the museum with the kids and do, like 6 weeks of kids coming in every Friday. But we jumped on the bandwagon and started a camp last year. So
that was such a great idea, too. And hopefully more people will find out about it and will be really taking advantage of that. And remind us again of your hours at the museum.
We're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, Saturday 10 to 3.
Awesome. And people can go in at no cost for genealogical research. But if you want to go through and see the exhibits, which is well worth it for the low cost of $5, I certainly encourage everyone to do it. And then check out this book for 250 years of Black history. You certainly can't beat that. I mean, that is such a wonderful thing right here for Bedford. So thank you so much, Leslie, for coming out today and sharing all this information. I know people will be excited to listen in and certainly come visit you at the museum.
Okay, great. Thank you. I look forward to seeing everybody.
And next month, Women's History.
There you go.
You'll be back. Thank you.
All right.